Okay, picture this. New York City. You're on the 6th floor of a hotel, and the vibe is, very old money.
Right. I'm thinking porcelain teapots, little sandwiches with the crust cut off.
Exactly. Current scones with actual clotted cream. It's a 10-year anniversary for a client's business, and the room is just packed with literary agents, entrepreneurs, you know the type.
It's a very proper, very quiet, high society kind of thing.
Oh, absolutely. The kind of room where everyone is terrified to make a scene. It's basically Downton Abbey in Manhattan.
Got it.
And then the hostess, she stands up, dings her glass, and says, "Everyone, this is Robert, and he has a surprise for us."
And I'm guessing, based on what we're talking about today, Robert is not blending in with the wallpaper.
Not even a little bit. Robert Hartwell stands up. He's in this electric blue suit, a pink and purple cravat. I mean, he is a jolt of caffeine in this sleepy room.
I love it.
He walks over to the sound system, flips a switch, and the whole room just starts vibrating with Beyoncé.
Wow. That is a bold move. You read that room wrong, and that's a career ender right there.
He didn't care. He looks at all these, perfectly poised women and says, "Ladies, we're going to get a little nasty. You okay with that?" And before they can even answer, he has them up on their feet. He's leading a synchronized dance line, shimmying, stomping. There was a full-on booty pop and a hair flip at the end.
Okay, that's hilarious, but you have to look at what's actually happening there. To walk into a room that's built for you to be small and polite and to just take it over with that much joy,
Yeah.
that takes a core of absolute steel. That's not just being fun. That's a power move.
And everyone loved it. But you're right that confidence doesn't just appear, it's earned. And that's our deep dive today. We're looking at Robert's survival story.
A story that really gets into career rejection and this myth of scarcity.
It all starts long before that tea party. Robert was in his 3rd Broadway show, Rodgers and Hammerstein's Cinderella.
Which is, that's the big leagues for a performer. A huge production.
He called it living the dream, but when you look at his notes from that time, that dream came with a lot of weight. Because in that entire cast, Robert was the only Black person in the ensemble.
And that completely changes the job. You're not just there to sing and dance anymore. When you're the only one, you're suddenly a representative.
He talks about that, about feeling this pressure to hold that space for every kid of color in the audience, to show them that they belong in the fairy tale too.
Which means he couldn't have an off night. He mentions almost never taking a day off.
Even when he was sick.
Right, because if he calls out, what happens? The diversity in that magical kingdom, it just disappears for that performance. That's the kind of pressure his white castmates they didn't have to carry that.
He had to be flawless.
Every single time.
So he's already dealing with that stress.
Yeah.
And then, one night, a god comes to see the show. A legendary Tony-winning female director.
Someone he looks up to.
Absolutely. She sees him, loves his performance, and invites him to this pre-production workshop for a brand new show she's creating.
And we should clarify what pre-production actually is. It's not a gentle rehearsal.
Bro, it sounds like a nightmare, honestly.
It's where the show gets built. They're using the actors like clay. They're creating the dance numbers on you, changing them, throwing them out. It's physically and mentally just exhausting.
And he's doing this while he's still in Cinderella.
Ah, the double duty trek.
The schedule was just insane. 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. He's in these intense pre-production rehearsals.
That's a full workday right there.
Then he's got to race across town, get in a costume, and do Cinderella, which is a marathon in itself, 8 times a week.
And he can't show up to the day job looking tired because he's trying to impress this director he worships. So he has to hide the exhaustion, be reliable, be indispensable.
He did this for weeks, and he was crushing it. They get to the reading, which is the big performance for the investors.
Big sales pitch. This is where the show lives or dies.
And it lives. The room was electric. The investors are loving it. Robert leaves that day thinking, this is it. This is the next huge Broadway hit, and I'm a part of it.
That's a tricky place to be, mentally. Because he's not just auditioning now. He feels like he's earned it. He's put the sweat in.
But Broadway doesn't care about sweat equity. Even after all that, he still has to officially audition for the final cast.
Which is brutal, but standard.
So he goes through the whole process. First cut, second callback, third callback. He makes it through every single round. He's right at the finish line.
The waiting at that point is just agony. Your whole life is basically on hold for a single text message.
Which brings us to the night before the final decisions. Robert's backstage at Cinderella in his dressing room with his best friend, Andy.
And Andy is He's kind of important here.
He's described as like the classic all-American guy. Tall, blonde, super talented, and just a genuinely nice person. They're best friends going through this whole audition grinder together.
That's a tough dynamic,
Yeah.
competing with your best friend for a job.
Yeah. So it's 10 minutes to curtain. Andy checks his phone, and his face just lights up. He says, "Oh, awesome. I just got the text. My final appointment is at 9 a.m. tomorrow. What time is yours?"
Oh no. The silence in that dressing room must have been just deafening.
Robert grabs his phone. He's refreshing it. Nothing.
We've all had that feeling, that sick dropping sensation in your stomach.
But he can't even process it. He has to go on stage and perform. So he tells himself it's just a delay. The signal is bad backstage. It'll come through at intermission.
The bargaining stage.
Yeah.
You're just praying there's been some kind of mistake.
Intermission comes. He runs to the dressing room, checks the phone. Still nothing. So he finally calls his agent.
The call you never want to make.
And the agent just says, "Oh, Robert, I'm so sorry. They've decided not to move forward with you."
Just like that. All that work, the 16-hour days, the exhaustion, just gone.
He said he just broke down. He's sobbing in the dressing room when Andy walks in to get ready for Act 2.
Andy, who got the good news?
Yeah. And Andy just sees him and knows immediately. He just pulls him into a hug while Robert falls apart.
But he still had to finish the show.
I have no idea how he did that.
It's that professional armor you were talking about. He went back out there, smiled, danced, just completely dying inside.
He cried himself to sleep that night. But the next day, he knew he needed answers. It didn't make sense. He knew his work in pre-production was good.
This wasn't a talent issue. He knew that much. So he starts making calls.
He calls everyone he can think of, and finally, someone whispers the real reason. And this, I think, is so much worse than being told you weren't good enough.
Because it had nothing to do with him.
The person told him, "Robert, everyone loved you. You were terrific, but the directors didn't want any black people in the show."
Wow. And there it is.
Their excuse was historical accuracy. The show was set in the 1920s in a specific social class.
The historical accuracy excuse. Such a weak, lazy argument. As if the 1920s were some kind of all-white monolith. It's a code word. It's a way to justify exclusion by pretending it's about art.
And for Robert, it was a complete betrayal. All that work, all that passion invalidated, not because of his talent, but because of his skin. He built a world that then decided he couldn't live in it.
And the final twist of the knife.
Andy got the job. Understudy to the lead.
And you can't even be mad at your friend. You have to be happy for him while you're just furious at the system that chose him over you for a reason that is so ugly.
He said the anger was making him sick. He knew he had to get out. He had to pivot, which is when an opportunity for Motown, the musical, came up.
A totally different world.
The national tour. He auditions, he books it right away, a 1-year contract.
And let's look at what that job offered. A good salary.
Right.
He could pay off his student loans?
Yep. And travel, see the country, and the dancing. It wasn't as hard on his body. He needed a break.
So he's made his peace with it. He's packing his bags for the tour. He's moving on.
But the universe had one last massive plot twist.
This is my favorite part of the story. This is where everything gets turned upside down.
A few days before he leaves for the tour, he's just scrolling a theater news blog. And he sees an article about that dream show. The glitzy 1920s historically accurate show.
The one that was supposed to be a monster hit.
It's closing.
It flopped.
A massive flop. Ran for just a couple of months. Investors lost millions. The reviews were terrible. Nobody went to see it.
Just think about that for a second. If he had gotten that text message he was praying for, if he had gotten that part,
He'd be unemployed.
he'd be right back where he started. But now, with a flop on his resume, scrambling for another job.
It completely changed how he saw the rejection. He realized that what felt like a cruel door slamming in his face was actually protection. The universe literally saved him from a train wreck.
And instead, what was his reality? He's on the Motown tour.
Having the best time of his life. He's seeing America for the first time, the mountains, the cities, and he fell in love.
Right. He met a guy in the cast.
And had this incredible deep relationship. He was happy, he was financially secure, he was loved. None of that would have happened if he'd gotten his supposed dream job.
It makes you question this whole idea of the one perfect path. We get so focused on plan A, we think anything else is a failure. Robert's story proves that sometimes plan A is a trap.
And that gets us to the main survival tip from all of this. It's about dismantling the myth of scarcity.
Yes, this is so important. We're all taught, especially in competitive fields, that there are only a few spots at the top. If I don't get this job or this promotion, my life is over.
Robert definitely felt that. That 1920 show was the only job in the world to him at that moment.
But the reality is, there's no scarcity. I mean, the sources point to some wild numbers. There are over 27 million businesses in the United States, thousands and thousands of theaters.
And it's not about saying, oh, as an actor, go work at a bank. The point is about the sheer volume of opportunity out there.
Exactly. The ecosystem is huge. We just get fixated on the tiny prestige economy, the one Broadway show, the one tech company. And when we expand our view, we see there are millions of places our talents can go.
And that prestige economy is where all the rejection is, anyway.
And often where the least stability is. The Prestige show closed in a month. The Workhorse National Tour paid off his student loans. His success came when he stopped trying to fit into a box that didn't want him.
It's the shift from please pick me to
where do I fit best?
Okay.
A no isn't a final judgment on your worth. It's just data. It just means not here.
And sometimes not here is the best news you could possibly get.
Exactly. The rejection wasn't a denial of Robert's talent. It was a redirection. It pushed him toward Motown, which sustained him, and eventually gave him the confidence to start his own business. Which takes us right back to that tea party.
The electric blue suit.
That man leading the dance line is not waiting for permission anymore. He built his own party. He brought his own music. That's what happens when you stop being afraid of scarcity.
So for anyone listening who's maybe looking at a rejection email right now, feeling that stomach drop.
It's real. The pain is real. Let yourself feel it. But then you have to allow for the possibility that you just don't know the whole story yet.
What if that thing you're devastated about is actually the flop you just missed?
And what if the next thing, the thing you can't even see yet, what if that's your Motown tour?
So maybe take a lesson from Robert. Put on your own version of that electric blue suit. Turn up the music.
And trust that sometimes a rejection is just the universe setting you up for something a million times better.
Thanks for diving deep with us today.
See you next time.